You are the type of owner who shows up every single day. You feed your dog, you walk your dog, you worry about your dog. And yet, somehow, your dog still trots past you and melts into someone else's arms the moment they walk through the door. It stings a little, right? Here is the truth: this is not about love. It is about biology. And once you understand what is actually happening inside your dog's brain, everything changes. What if your dog's preference for one specific person has nothing to do with personality and everything to do with neuroscience? Today, we are breaking down the biological imprint that quietly decides who your dog trusts most. We are talking dopamine, cortisol, cognitive mapping, and the kind of hardwired survival logic your dog has never been able to explain to you, but has been running on since day one. Let us start with the most important thing to understand up front. Your dog is not playing favorites out of spite. Your dog is not making a conscious choice to wound your feelings when they leap over you to greet someone else first. What your dog is doing is following a deeply embedded neurological program, one that was written long before they ever set paw in your house. And that program has one job: keep the dog alive. So let us talk about how that program actually works. The bioimprint of the primary provider inside your dog's brain. There is a reward system built around dopamine. You have probably heard of dopamine in the context of human behavior, that rush of pleasure you get when something good happens. Dogs have the same system, and it operates on a very specific trigger: the consistent delivery of high-value resources. What counts as a high-value resource to a dog? Food, yes, but also physical safety, warmth, predictability, the feeling that the world makes sense. When one person in a household becomes the primary source of those things, the dog's dopamine system starts to associate that person with a reward signal so strong, so reliable, that it begins to hardwire a preference. Not a preference in the emotional, sentimental way we think about it. A preference in the way a compass points north. It is directional, it is automatic, and it is very, very difficult to override once it is set. This is why the person who feeds the dog most consistently tends to become the dog's anchor. Not because food is love, though food certainly helps, but because the brain learns to predict reward from that person. And the brain loves nothing more than a reliable prediction. Now here is where it gets really interesting. Cognitive mapping and the survival anchor dogs are not just responding to whoever gives them dinner. They are actively building what researchers call a cognitive map of their social world. Think of it like an internal GPS, except instead of mapping streets and landmarks, it is mapping people, roles, and levels of safety. In that map, every person in the household gets assigned a kind of trust rating. And the criteria for that rating are not what you might expect. It is not about who is the funniest, the most affectionate, or the most fun to play with. It is about who reduces uncertainty. Dogs experience the world as a place full of unpredictable signals: a stranger at the door, a loud noise outside, a change in routine that nobody warned them about. Every one of those moments creates a small internal alarm. And the person who consistently shows up to resolve that alarm, the one who signals through body language, tone of voice, and reliable behavior that everything is okay, that person gets elevated in the cognitive map. Not to the role of friend, to the role of survival anchor. This is a critical distinction. A friend is someone you enjoy being around. An anchor is someone your nervous system depends on. And your dog's brain, operating from a survival-first framework, will always prioritize the anchor over the friend. Every single time. So when you watch your dog follow one specific person from room to room, positioning themselves near that person even during quiet moments when nothing is happening, that is not cuteness. That is the survival map in action. Your dog has identified their primary point of safety, and they are staying close to it, the way a ship stays near a lighthouse in rough water. The cortisol connection here is the piece that most people miss entirely, and it might be the most important one. Cortisol is your dog's stress hormone. When cortisol levels rise, your dog feels anxious, unsettled, hypervigilant. When cortisol levels drop, your dog feels safe, calm, and relaxed. And one of the most powerful cortisol regulators in your dog's life is not medication, not exercise, not even a quiet environment. It is routine reliability from one consistent person. Studies on canine stress physiology have shown that dogs exhibit measurably lower cortisol levels in the presence of their primary attachment figure compared to other familiar people. Not strangers, not even other household members they genuinely like. The one specific person who has established a pattern of predictable, responsive caregiving. What does predictable, responsive caregiving actually look like in practice? It is feeding at consistent times. It is the same morning routine that signals the start of the day. It is a tone of voice that stays steady instead of swinging between excited and frustrated. It is being the one who notices when the dog is uncomfortable before the dog has to escalate to get attention. That consistency does something profound to the nervous system over time. The dog's brain begins to associate the mere presence of that person with a physiological drop in stress, which means before anything even happens, before a word is spoken or a treat is offered, the dog's body is already relaxing just because that person walked into the room. Now imagine what that feels like from the inside. Imagine that one specific person in your world makes your entire nervous system exhale just by existing nearby. Of course, you follow them around. Of course, you press your body against their leg when something feels uncertain. Of course, you watch the door waiting for them to come home. This is not favoritism. This is neurobiology. And here is the part that reframes everything. The person your dog chooses is not necessarily the loudest, the most playful, or even the most affectionate. They are the person who created the most neurological safety over time. Slowly, quietly, through repetition and reliability, through being present in a way the dog's nervous system could count on. So if you are the one feeding your dog, walking your dog, maintaining the routines that structure your dog's entire experience of the world, and you are wondering why your dog still seems to drift toward someone else, ask yourself this: who is the one whose presence actually calms them? Because calm is the currency of the canine brain, not excitement, not play. Calm, excitement, and play activate dopamine in short bursts. But consistent, regulated calm is what builds the deep attachment bond. The kind that makes your dog lean against you during a thunderstorm instead of pacing the room. The kind that makes them sigh and settle the moment you sit down. The kind that nobody can manufacture with a single afternoon of attention. If this shifted something for you, take a moment and think about where you actually stand in your dog's cognitive map. Not where you assumed you stood, but where your daily behavior has placed you. The bond your dog builds is not random. It is earned through consistency. And the good news is it is never too late to become someone your dog's nervous system learns to trust. Start with the routine. The rest follows. Thanks for watching. If you loved this video, scan the QR code on the screen right now to subscribe and join the Pawsome Life family. Give your dog a belly rub for us, and we will see you in the next video.